Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope you guys are all doing well. Make sure you guys have smashed up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. We're going to be discussing Manchester City, the current situation. What do we do? How do we get to January? What do we do when we get to January? And just various other stuff as well. I do have the Barcelona Sociedad game on now, so I'm also watching Zubimendi as well, so I'm keeping my eye on that one. Echeverry is playing for River Plate. That starts in 7 minutes time as well, so there's loads of stuff for you guys to be watching. Make sure you guys are smashing up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Before we get going, guys, just make sure that you can debate people, innit? But no abuse in the chat, man. Yeah, no abuse to myself, any of the panelists, or anyone else in the chat. Keep it debating. You can debate people's opinions, but don't abuse people, man. There's no need for it. Lads, welcome in. Thank you for joining me again. It's another loss, 4 in a row. Let me come to Bevel because I've not spoken to you for a while, Bevel, man. How you feeling, man? It's been a while since we won a game, bro. What's your take on the current situation?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? I don't think we're doing great at the moment. Feels like all confidence has kind of gone from the team. Not so much at the start of games, because I think we go into games thinking, we're up for it. Let's do this, and then it almost seems like as soon as we concede a goal, our kind of heads drop, and then we end up conceding another and maybe even another. A bit of a tricky one. I think there's more going on behind the scenes than maybe what people think. I don't think this is just a case of injuries. I think there's a kind of bigger problem going on.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. It could be the uncertainty of Pep. It could be, it could be anything. Anything. There's so much that goes on in a dressing room that we don't hear of or kind of know what's going on. It could be, a number of things, but I think as fans, I think we're all sort of a bit unnerved about, the whole Pep situation, and kind of feel like, whether you're staying or you're going now, I kind of just want to know. I just kind of want to, know where we're going and where we're heading. I feel like if it is going to be a 1-year extension, is that going to be good for us? I don't know. I'd kind of, if it was me, I'd rather bring somebody in that we could have for 3-4 years rather than,
See, that's a very controversial thing, that, Beryl. I don't know if it should be, but I've seen a few people say this, that they'd rather Pep not sign a 1-year contract, get a new manager, rather than Pep just signing a 1-year deal. I've seen quite a lot of people.
If I can take Pep for 1 year, I'm taking it. But
you would take him for 1 year rather than do like a.
If I had to, I prefer an offer to be put on the table for somebody that's going to come in for 3-4 years, and sort of have this long-term plan in place. Now, whether we're going to do that as well as the 1-year extension, because what I've kind of heard is if we do sign Pep to a 1-year extension, we'll also sort out the next manager at that time as well, and get them contractually agreed for after when Pep leaves. But I don't know. I think for me, it does create a lot of uncertainty around the club. If you're only keeping your manager for 1 year, it's kind of like, for me, it feels like a bit of a sticky patch. Like you put in a sticky plaster over something for the sake of a year. I'd rather bring somebody in for 3, 4, 5 years. I'm more than grateful for everything that Pep's done for us. I'll die a happy man seeing the team do 4 in a row, seeing the team win a treble, Centurion season, the 4 domestic trophies in a season. I'm more than happy with what I've seen my team witness. But I think for me now, it's not about sorting something out for the next year. It's, we've got Viana in now. Obviously he's going to have his own ideas with things, different to Cheeky. I just feel like it's probably best if we bring someone in now that is kind of on the same page as Viana. Start fresh. Get the right manager in with the right set of players, because ultimately this transfer window that's coming up in the summer is going to be a massive one, regardless. We're going to have to look for a Kevin De Bruyne replacement. We're probably going to have to look for a Stones replacement, Walker replacement. I see there being maybe 5 or 6 signings in the summer. I don't know about you guys. But I just feel like, are we really going to do that with a manager that's only going to be with us for a season? I kind of feel like the manager should come in and have their influence over kind of who comes in for the long term.
Let me bring Joe into this then. So where are you on this whole manager thing? Do you think that this Pep Guardiola running down his contract, not knowing whether he's staying, not knowing whether he's going, he's going to sign a 1-year deal, which some people are like, is that actually any good? Some people are saying, don't sign a 1 year. We'd rather get a new manager and keep him for 4. Like, how much do you think this managerial situation is actually affecting maybe the performances or what's going on?
I don't feel like it is, to be honest. I feel like it's I feel like the performances that we've seen. So if we go through, like, I'm obviously frustrated with how it's going, full stop, but you can look at each of the 4 games and you can kind of explain them all. So obviously, like, the Spurs game's the one that I think is really on Pep, because we wanted to get knocked out that competition. He basically said as much before the press conference, and he could have gone weaker than he did, and he didn't. And he played too many first-team players in that. And that meant that when Bournemouth came round, we had a squad of players who were in desperate need of a rest. And and they were all knackered for that, basically. Sporting, one half of amazing football, didn't take our chances. Second half, legs gone. Sporting just rip through us like no problems. Every counter attack they score, basically, we lose. We take a heavy defeat, and then this game yesterday was just like kind of more of the same of Sporting. We played good for like half an hour, 35 minutes, and then legs gone. Brighton bring on a couple of players that completely change the game. We take off our best winger, our most dangerous outfield player, and bring on Kevin De Bruyne, who's not kicked a ball really properly for a while. And the moment that first goal goes in against us, I think everybody, including the players, knew that Brighton was scoring a second. I don't necessarily feel like it's just. I feel like it's maybe the Pep situation is like a factor, but I doubt it. I have a feeling that everyone in the club knows what's going on. Like now, like this is the time of year when I think we were saying on the stream that that the 3 of us did with Pulpy, like, did this the other day. I think this is the time of year when we get the announcement. Like this is usually when it comes. So I don't think there's any real doubt in that dressing room at this point what's happening. They're not going to find out when we find out. Like they'll already know if Pep's made his decision one way or another. So assuming that's the case, which could be wrong, but assuming that's the case, I think it's just a case of, it's a mixture of 2 things. It's one, it's the injuries. Obviously, it's the injuries. Like that can't be ignored, and it's not an excuse, but it can't be ignored. And the other one is just, which I think is the bigger problem, is just that this squad's just been allowed to age, and like the players that we've brought in as squad players are not good enough to be the guys who start week in, week out. And unfortunately, because of injuries, they are the guys who start week in, week out. And not only are they squad players who aren't necessarily good enough to play to start week in, week out and maintain a serious title charge kind of performances, they're also old. And we're in a position where, and so they're just getting absolutely dominated by any half decent midfield. And unfortunately, the Premier League's full of quite a lot of half decent midfields, as is as a sport in Sporting Lisbon. So yeah, it's a combination of injuries and the fact that the squad has not been seriously refreshed. Like the midfield, we haven't had. I know that we've made signings in midfield. We've obviously signed Calvin Phillips, Nunez, Kovacic, and re-signing Gundogan back. But we haven't signed a player that has been bought with the intention of being the guy, like the first team player since Rodri. And when was that? 2020? Was that summer of 2020 that was, or 2021? One of the two. Yeah, it was 2021 because obviously 21 was when we went to the champ. No, I could be wrong actually. I think it was 2021. But either way, you're looking at what 3, 4, 5 years that it's been since we've signed a serious like first team quality
proper first team, not squad rotation.
Yeah, a proper. You are going to start 90% of games if you're fit kind of midfielder. We haven't done that, and that's why we've ended up in a position where our midfield. Obviously, you've had Foden come through, which you can excuse maybe one signing off the back of Foden, like being one of the best young midfielders in the world coming through your academy. But if you don't, even then, like, you're looking at the fact that David Silva's gone. Okay, you can say Foden replaced him. Kevin De Bruyne's had multiple long-term injuries and is on the wrong side of 30. And it seems like they're waiting for him to leave before they replace him because they're scared of any kind of overlap for some reason. Gundogan left and was replaced with Núñez, who obviously was not the guy who we really wanted and wasn't used. And now we've replaced his outgoing with Gundogan coming back at the age of 34. Mm-hmm. And then Phillips, who was never good enough, and that was just an L the club has to take, and it's as simple as that. But yeah, I don't feel like it's necessarily all on Pep. The Pep situation, I would hope that the club know by now what the Pep situation is. I think it's just a combination of injuries and where the squad sort of what the transfer policy has been on certain areas of the squad for the last 3-4 years. It's kind of left us in this position.
Just a quick question, Joe. So the way that I saw the Sporting game, for me, I don't know how you see it. Really, that it's only maybe 2 or 3 players off being what we would consider kind of our strongest team, really, because you look at you look at Simpson Pusey. You know, he's not a regular player for us. You could argue that, yeah, Kovacic isn't kind of, a regular starter for us. It would be Rodri, but yeah. Kovacic is still, a serial winner. He's won Champions Leagues with Chelsea, with Real Madrid, won leagues with Real Madrid and Milan, obviously been with us now as well for a couple of seasons. And then arguably you could probably say that Núñez is probably our strongest left winger at the moment. He's certainly stronger than what Doku could bring at the moment and what Grealish could bring at the moment. So for me, I don't know whether it kind of is a squad thing, because for me, like I would argue and say, okay, well, yeah, we're not playing Rodri, but for me, Kovacic has enough kind of in the bank and enough experience to say, well, he can be a half decent replacement for Rodri. Let's face it, he's never going to be on par with a Ballon d'Or winner, but he has enough.
If you were to look at this lineup for me, I think So the back four is Lewis, Akanji, Pusey, Gvardiol. So I would maybe out of that take out Pusey and put in Diaz or Stones. Take your pick. And then other than that, obviously, if we're assuming that Rodri is not an option here, you're probably just looking at replacing Núñez. For me, Núñez with Grealish in a game like that. But regardless, I think you're probably right in that is quite a decent, strong side that we put out. And
that should be enough to beat most teams, really.
And this is where the injuries come in. We played mint for 45 minutes and could have scored 3 or 4 goals. We didn't take our chances, which is on the players who are on the pitch. But ultimately, no one had enough in the tank to get through that second half, and that's because we've got no rotation option. I'll let come in, because obviously we're talking for ages.
Yeah, just quickly before I bring Pulpy into this year, the only thing I'd say on that, right? You might be right, Bevo, in what you're saying, but I'd argue there's 5 players in there that don't get into my first team, or shouldn't get into my first team. Yeah?
Yeah, if everyone's actually genuinely fit.
It shouldn't be in my first team going forward. Mm-hmm. I think we need a new right back, a proper right back. I think Rico Lewis is good. He can play right back. He can play midfield, whatever, but I don't think he's a starting right back, for an elite level. That's 2. Kovacic is not a starting player. For me, Bernardo Silva, I don't want him as like my main starter in my team no more, and Núñez shouldn't be starting. So actually, if I look at that team there and say, where do I need to strengthen that side? Yeah, centre-back, injuries. Right-back, need a new one. DM, injuries, plus need a new one. Midfielder, need a new one. Left winger, need a new one. / Grealish, whatever. So
I was kind of basing it on the players that we've got right now. That's not far off our strongest. Yeah.
Let's bring Pulpy in. Pulpy, what are you saying, man?
I mean, I don't really know what more I can add on to what Joe and Bevo said. Really, I think there's a massive overreaction because of the big old 4 in a row we've lost. But really, significantly, it's only 2 in the league we've lost, and we're still quite close to the top of the league. You know what I mean? So, just adding on to what you said about Pep, though. I mean, I don't think I would be happy with a 1-year deal as it is, because it's not really 1 year, is it? It's literally going to be the end of the season, and then basically same day scenarios back, Groundhog Day.
It's the same shit,
We
innit?
get to think, and don't forget, we're still without Rodri, so we're still back in the same shit position we were. And then Rodri's injuries ticking down as Pep's coming back. It's like, it's either 1 year, and then that's his final year, and say that's it, or 2 years or plus, or gone. You know what I mean? I don't think there's.
So here's what I'm trying to find out. So if the option is 1 year, right? So like next season, and then he's gone. Would you do that?
I'd take that. So we know. We know we can plan, and we all know what's happening when there's a succession coming, and when there's none of this uncertainty towards the end of the season. Like, is he staying? Is he going? It's like the last 4 or 5 weeks has been all about Pep. Is he coming? Is he staying? He's not, and everything's about him. It's like, at least we'd know, and we'd all be accepting. It's like the long goodbye, right? We'd know it's coming to an end. We can finally start to move on, and we know that we're going to be a little bit of a drop off, and then the actual staff behind the scenes can start planning. You know, it can be a succession plan put in place, and I think that's the most frustrating thing, is that we don't know right now.
Yeah.
For all we know is tomorrow he could just turn around and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm off at the end of the season, and things are going to tank like everyone saw what happened to Liverpool, right? So I'd be happy with a succession plan. If it's 2 years, then I'll be absolutely buzzing for that. You know, and that'd be the worst news the rest of the world is going to want to know about, because he'll be in for a rebuild for 2 years, and he'll be all up for that. So I don't know.
Personally, there's no way for me that I wouldn't get Pep signed up on a new deal. For me, you know what I'd actually do? Yeah, you know what I'd actually do. It would depend. I don't know. Would it not be wise for the club just to sign him on a 2-year deal, and then at the end of next season just say, right, I'm gone?
Well, I think if it's just 2 years,
snake us as a fan base. I don't care if we got snaked. Like, just tell me it's 2 years. Yeah. Do next year, and then once hopefully we won the league next year, just be like, right, I'm gone.
If that's the case, and the club and he signs 2, but the club know that he's off in 1, just to avoid having that last year being like seen as his last year for all the pressure and stuff that brings. If the club know that, and the club are able to act accordingly, like, cool, like that's fine by me. I just don't like the idea that. Yeah, I'm kind of on the idea that it's like he signs a 1-year deal, and it's like he might sign another 1 year after that. It's like, I don't want that. I want to. If whatever it is, I want it to be definitive. Like, if it's 2, let it be his last. And he says, "This is my last 2, and I'm off." Cool. If it's his 1 and it's his last 1 and he's off, cool. But I ultimately think that whatever happens, like as Bevo said before, like next summer, it can't just be we're not this squad is not at. Let's add 1 or 2 players to the existing core kind of summer. This is the core needs like ripping out and putting a new one in, like, kind of summer. Like, we need to have it. I want us to end next summer with at least 2 new players in that spine of the team. Like, I don't want to be looking at next season thinking, God, I hope Rodri's back, and like, oh God, I hope Foden's the same Foden he was 2 years ago again, and God, I hope John Stones and Diaz stay fit all season again. I want to have players who are world class, like top 5 in their positions in the world, who I know are going to come in and immediately make a difference straight away. And that's that.
We are at a massive turning point in
gotta be done.
This last 10 years of whatever's been going on. Like I said, I know what Mike just said in the chat there, but it's like, it's true. We'll be the last to know, and we are the least important to know, really. You know, I'd like to think it's kind of sorted behind the scenes. If it's not, then they'll always have they'll always have the plan for what if and what not. But we're at the stage where everyone knows we need massive surgery. You know, these other successful teams in the past, Arsenal didn't really particularly build on their success. When they had to rebuild, they kind of went stale. United did it a couple of times. Ferguson had two rebuilds, right? But he took a while to get right. So we've got to be in a position now where the rebuild's got to be done right.
This is kind of
put little Lego bricks in and think it's going to work. It's got to be new plan, everything's in place, and this is the way it's going to be for the next X amount of years for every single part of the club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is kind of where I'm at with it. For me, if Pep's only signing sort of for 1 year, would we not want to give the new manager kind of work with Viana
let him build the team.
Yeah, to because ultimately I know that it's down to the sporting director, kind of who and the club on who we bring in, but surely the manager has some form of a say to, you know, because for example now, like if the manager's got visions of using, you know, bringing in Musiala, for example, you know, Musiala is very, very different to Averts. You know, is it going to be, okay, well, I have visions for Musiala to play in this kind of role, whereas a different manager might see it slightly different and maybe not want a Musiala and maybe want Averts. So, I mean, again, just two players.
For me, Bevo, the manager has to work within the players that the club buy him. You know what I mean? If you look at a lot of top teams, like the club buy the players, the coach is to coach the players. They're not managers anymore, in it. So for me, like, I don't care if Pep's here for 1 year, the club will buy the players that they want, and then the new manager will just have to deal with that. And then when the new manager comes in, maybe he can have a little bit of a say. But
I think it's so weird how we've let the squad get to that. Because if you look at so Pep's effectively done a rebuild of this team already, and like the 2017-18-19 team is totally different to the treble winning side, and that's because the club sort of managed that by like slowly, like we brought in Rodri while Fernandinho was still here. So that when Fernandinho went, Rodri was ready to come up. We had Foden waiting, so that when David Silva went, Foden started to, like, you know, it wasn't immediate, but started to sort of bring in taking up some of those minutes a bit more. Like Gundogan came through and started playing a bit more. We had the players sort of ready and waiting. Well, obviously, Company went, and that was the one that we kind of fucked up a bit, didn't we? Because we didn't really buy anyone that summer. But then the next season, we got Diaz, who was the 23-year-old who we knew could be here for like next 7, 8, 9 years and be no problem. I think we found out, and obviously when Aguero went, we had to just wait for Haaland to become available. But the majority of the places along the pitch, like, you know, the winger situation and stuff, we've replaced, like, as and when it's been, you know, as it's been a year off being like a real problem. We've done the replacement. But the midfield, for some reason, in the last 2 or 3 years, has been the one place where we've just not, like, the club has obviously, they've gone for Bellingham and Rice.
They did try.
They've gone for Bellingham and Rice and stuff, but it can't just be Bellingham and Rice or no one.
No, I agree.
It can't, like, we can't be in a situation where it's like, it's, you know, Bellingham's like the number one most sought after player in the world at the time. There has to be, and obviously, I feel like Rice was one where we just, like, last minute went in and just went, we'll bid for you. And that was so 11th hour that it was obviously was going to Arsenal by that point anyway. Like, we can't be. There's got to be. Obviously, João Neves went somewhere else this summer as well. Like, and he went for, like, what, 60 mil in the end. Like, what? Where were we? Like, why were we not at the table for that? Obviously, this is, like, you know, this is Football Manager FIFA level stuff. Like, the club may well have looked at João Neves and thought he's not going to suit us at all, and just, you know, decided not to.
Yeah, but one of them things where, like, 11 out of 10, 11 out of 12 on a checklist, and if you don't get the 12, then you're done, mate.
But it's just like, I mean, you know, who knows? Like, maybe there is just a situation where there is no top quality level midfielder that City could bring in if it wasn't Bellingham or Rice. But
I think it was a case of, if you can't get your top 2 targets and third choice was just not quite what we wanted, then you just keep your powder dry till the next.
That's how we
season.
got Diaz, though. Diaz was.
The problem with that, I completely agree with that, Pulpit. But then the problem is we didn't spend the money this summer. Like,
he obviously thought he's obviously thought we could get through the season if Rodri were fit, but obviously now we're going to pieces because we haven't got Rodri and there's no backup. You know, there's a glaring hole there that we knew would happen if something happened and the worst case scenarios come through, right? But I don't know. I mentioned about the rebuild because, like you said, the aging profile of these midfielders, we've got 3 or 4 in the 30s, mid-30s, getting us mid-30s now. These all have to go at once, and that is 4 or 5. You're going to have to place 4 or 5 with 4 or 5. And
which is not great planning,
that's
really,
the big rebuild because, you know, like you said, we've always there's always been one out, one in, a shoehorn in, and then they become a stalwart. But as you mentioned before, some of these players have been in this team for 5 years now. You know,
and the thing is as well, right? We have Kovacic, who's a squad rotational player. We have Nunes, who's a squad rotational player, right? So the problem that they've got now is that they need a major refresh, but they need to be buying, like, world-class quality players.
You have to be looking at buying starters now.
So it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Are you going to do that with 2? Like, we haven't done it once in the last 3 years. Are we going to do it twice in one?
Well, I think the problem with that is that comes from us being so good. You know, if he was battling for second and third and maybe looking at getting to the quarterfinal of the Champions League, you can add those. You can chew on those better players, and if you find them, we are the top of the tree. you can't necessarily just
I've-
always
I've-
pull players into
I
that because
personally-
it's not available.
I
And
personally
we've
think
got the
if
best
you're
players because we've got the best players. They're not always out there to grab. I was kind of thinking this morning, actually. You know, over the years, like Alex Ferguson used to always pluck these decent players from the Premier League. You know, he used to go out and say, I'll get Michael Carrick and I'll get Berbatov and we'll have this player and Rooney and Ferdinand. Who could we go and get? I was thinking, who could we go and get that's domestic like that? There's nobody. Nobody stands out like that now. So the
Premier League's changed. Like we
it's
can't do that.
changed so much that there's no gems anymore you can just go and pluck. Maybe Eze if we was looking at somebody that's outside the top 6. But like the transfer market's changed so much like you just can't get these players anymore. Like you just add a few here with experience, you can't do it. So it's going to be tough.
Though, I think when it comes to, I kind of get what you're saying in terms of like we're so good, and maybe that's a situation where with Rodri, like you literally just can't.
You can't replace Rodri.
You can't get a backup for Rodri because the guy's going to start 5 games all season. Like it's difficult to do that with a genuine like world class replacement. But I think in the 8s, like I'm not being funny, but if you're a top level like City starting level player, you should be backing yourself to go to be able to be better than Foden, to be able to be better than a 30-odd-year-old Kevin De Bruyne. Like you've got to, like the players who are that level, like that the kind of tier that I'm talking about us trying to sign next summer. Like Bellingham, for example, Bellingham would have come in and he wouldn't have gone, but Foden and Kevin De Bruyne are too good. Am I going to get game time? He's got.
You come in, don't you? Put your massive bollocks on the table and say, "I'm going to get in this team."
Exactly, and those are the kind of players that we should be going for.
They are a lot of money, and that is, you know, we might have his war chest of 200 million, but that's going to get us 2 decent.
I know. That's what we got to do, and I know that Martin's in the comments talking about like, you know, Kevin De Bruyne's wages and stuff like that, and it's difficult to work it. Like, well, we made a bid for Bellingham while Kevin De Bruyne's wages were still here. Like, the club has the money to spend. It's nothing to do with we can't do it. It's nothing to do with we can't do anything until Kevin De Bruyne is gone. Like the club have just not landed the people who they wanted to land, and it's that simple, and that's fine. If they did, you know, if Bellingham goes to Madrid, fine. Top player goes to Madrid is nothing new, but. Fucking hell! You got to have another plan for like if that doesn't work, other than we'll bid for Declan Rice 2 days before the deadline day, or we'll try and get Paqueta, and then if he doesn't come through, because obviously that one, I don't think he was a centre mid for us anyway. I think he was going to play out more on the left, wasn't he? But it wasn't going to. It didn't feel like he was a centre mid option. But yeah, I think. Yeah, I just don't see how the Kevin De Bruyne stuff is relevant. I'm not talking just about him. I'm talking about a midfielder that needs adding to this squad, and that just now we've left ourselves a situation where we've got to do it next summer. We've got to do it twice.
Well, we do have to do it twice, and for me, you know, I think I'm looking at someone like a 6-8 hybrid, so someone like a Bruno G, but then I also need a creator. You know what I mean? And it's going to cost a lot of money now. You know, we have the money. The money's there. The money's available, right? You know, with the second best net profit in Europe over the last 6 years, we have the money. But for City, are they going to go out and buy a Wirtz and a Musiala plus a Bruno G? It's going to cost you 250 mil just to get 2 players in.
I think you'll find you'll get one decent level signing and then another one that's just a bit like what will seem underwhelming, but actually will just be like a Sudoku.
I think what they would do.
We'll expect to play 30 games a season and then go up and get better as he gets older.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like the way we've managed this isn't particularly great. You know what I mean? And we're in a situation now where this, like you say, it's pulpy. It needs major rebuild.
You can't. I say we can't put in the thing of like Foden starting the season shite, Kevin De Bruyne being like turned into paper mache, Rodri out for 12 months. You know what I mean? We can't do anything with that. It's just all come at once. So that is literally the core of our team is out. You know, and I don't think any other team. I don't think any team in the world will be able to handle that at all.
No, 100%. No, for me, I just want to see. So here's the thing, right? What about if you go and get like a Edison? Because Craig's been mentioning it in the chat. We've been linked with Edison at Atalanta. About 40 million euros, like that. You could get him. Apparently, he can play 6 as well as the 8 role. Get him in January. That solves your Rodri problem, right? Apparently, I don't know. I've never seen him play.
I'm still on the. I know we mentioned him the other day. I'm still on the Douglas Luiz hype for the. The
Douglas Luiz hype is a very good shout.
I think in terms of January, that's the only one that is a natural fit for the team we play now. He's got Premier League experience and he's available. You know, anyone else you're bringing in is kind of they might be good, but are they going to fit straight in?
Is Douglas Luiz available? Is he?
Allegedly.
The
Yeah,
rumours are
apparently-
Hasn't he just gone to Juventus?
Yeah, apparently he's not
Yes.
having a good time.
All right.
Yeah, but that's what I do. I'd look at getting your 6-8 in January, and then getting your creator in the summer. And that spreads out, doesn't it? It spreads it out. Then you're not doing it. You're not doing both transfers in the same window. But
Yeah,
you're also.
I didn't said like they're going to fast forward somebody for the summer. They've got to. They have to do it.
I think there's more to it. I don't think it's a case of maybe 2 in the summer. I think you're looking at potentially needing another centre back. You definitely need a right back. Potentially looking at like what you said about a creator, a backup 6. You're going to have to look at a backup striker for Haaland. And plus, then you'll have players leave. Are we going to see Kovacic leaving? Are we going to see Gundogan leaving? Are we going to see Grealish leaving? There's so many players that could potentially leave as well. I in the past, whenever we've done rebuilds, it has been gradual. We've brought in players while the other players been there. But the thing which kind of makes me a bit nervous is, come the summer, we're going to have to bring in 3, 4, maybe even 5 players.
Yeah, but the club have to do that though, because they put themselves in this position anyway. So like they have
before
to,
we did it in 2017, didn't we? We did it after Pep's first season, so we're just gonna have to do it. I mean, the club has, for my money, the club has spent we've all seen the net spend tables, haven't we? Like the club have brought in a lot of money over the last 3 or 4 years that hasn't necessarily all been spent. Like
700 million just in the treble.
I think we've got a massive summer worth of transfers in us. Like I think it's very possible to do it.
If we do bring 5 in, say since we just brought random 5 in, 4 are going. We're not adding 5 to what we've got. 4 are going. So we're still the way we are now. We're just basically the same squad we've got now. We've had 4 out and we've got 5 in, and we're still quite short. I think the plan is to have a player that can play in 2 positions across the whole pitch. I think that's what the dream is, right? But when you're playing with it, when you've got an 18-man squad, you get 4 or 5 injuries. We're absolutely knackered there. So, I don't know. I think people are dreaming that they want 5 in, and to add that to the 5, we're losing 4 or 5.
No.
What you think?
And the thing is, bro, like, with all due respect, I want some of these players to leave. Yeah, not because like I hate them or anything. It's just like, bro, some of these players are stale, man.
I think we do well at getting rid of players when just before they're about to just drop off a cliff. We've done it. There's a few that have just got to that point where they've moved on and they've never been any better anywhere else. I think they know internally. They'll have all the running stats. They'll have how they're reacting to trade. They'll have all the stats there, the health and stuff. They'll just know that there's a gradual decline. So I won't be surprised if you see 2 or 3 that we think are City stalwarts go, and we'll just move on from it. It's hard. Everyone was upset about Gundogan going, but it turns out it was kind of probably the right thing to do. But it's one of them. You just got to accept it. You've got to have a clean cut, move on, and say thanks for the memories and off you pop, mate.
Let me do some of these super chats. One sec, bro. Big up to Ben Lesmer. Says, unpopular opinion, rather Pep not sign it if it's a 1 year. Think it ruins the squad building and the uncertainty isn't great. Sign a 3-year or move on. There is a poll in the live chat as well, which I did. And 69% of people are saying, they would sign him up on a 1-year contract. But there are 30% of people who have said, nah, if it's a 1-year contract, they wouldn't sign him up.
I'm kind of on that, to be fair.
I get it.
No,
I'd rather give him a year, but I get it if he wouldn't. Like,
a year and he says in his contract, this is my final season. I'd take that, but I don't want a year. And here we are again in August. Everyone's it's Pep's final season, and the signings aren't so great in the window, and everyone's.
No, I agree. I understand what you're saying. Bill Tomar says if he signs a 1-year contract, then do not expect top signings this summer. No top player will want to sign with that uncertainty. Would be silly to do so, says Amar. I kind of disagree to a degree.
I think so. Pep's not taking Pep's not taking another club job after this, or at least certainly not for a while. If you have the once in a lifetime opportunity to get managed by Pep Guardiola for 1 year, are you saying nah because you might be gone in a year? Like no, surely an elite player is going to want to work with the greatest manager of all time, and they'll happily take that if it means that. And City aren't exactly a shit club to be at without him.
I was going to say, don't get me wrong, Pep's obviously a contributing factor, but do you not want to come and play for Manchester City that are contending for the Premier League, year upon year? Champions League year upon year.
We
Could
will
you say
pull the
any
out.
signing we've had in the last 3 years has been exactly 100% because Pep's managing?
No.
Maybe Haaland.
I don't think. I think he would have come
Yeah.
anyway. I think it's just here's a project, mate, and you're here, and you're just going to score loads of goals and off you pop later on.
Plus,
Maybe.
as well, the way that City look after players when we bring them in, a lot of players don't want to leave. You know, you look at the likes of Aguero, the likes of David Silva, even KDB. You know, they get treated so well by the club that ultimately they end up signing contract after contract after contract with us because, you know, they feel part of the bigger picture. And
Yeah, lifers. Yeah.
you know, and surely that must get around, you know, other players. You know, players talk.
Players
You know what I mean?
Players can see, can't they? They talk at international level.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Friends and they're asking how things are. They say, oh, it's so cushy here.
I mean,
mate.
you have to look at
Well,
Gundogan.
you get a 5-year deal and then you've done 10 years and you've made a fortune and you're off. And
yeah, you only have to look at Gundogan when he left. When Gundogan left City for Barcelona, it was there was talk that it was City that helped him find a house. You know, like name any other club that would do that and go and help one of their ex-players, you know, find a house. And ultimately, it kind of worked in a favour where it was like, okay, well, you know, City was still on his mind. He was like, oh well, you know, they helped me. I think I'd quite like to go back there, to be honest. So
it is nice. It's nice of City to do that, but it's a bit cook behaviour, and it's just like sort of like go, oh yeah, is it get a new house so you can shack up with your new girlfriend? Like no thanks, like getting gone. Like I think I'm kind of with you on that. I think that there's a lot of things to like at Manchester City that aren't just Pep Guardiola. Like, and obviously we will lose, like when he's gone, like we will lose a huge pull, like a huge reason for people to come to the club is Guardiola. Whether there'll be no one there'll probably be maybe one or two players who came here just for Pep. I mean, I imagine if you're Rodri, you looked at what he did to Busquets and went, you know what, like that's why I'm going to Manchester City. And I honestly think he might be gone like not long after Pep, to be honest. But I think I think there's a lot to like about Manchester City other than that. And I think that when he's gone, we're not going to suddenly be in a position where, or even if you know, if Pep only signs a 1-year extension, we're not going to be in a position where loads of players will be like hesitant to sign for us just because there's only 1 year of it. I think we'll be fine. Like the likes of Wirtz and Musiala are not going to be like, they're still going to be looking at it as playing in the Premier League, playing in a team that ultimately like is pretty nailed on to win
project,
trophies
right?
semi-regularly.
Project more than anything.
Yeah, the project.
Yeah, bro,
like,
we signed Aguero, we
years.
signed De Bruyne, we signed Yaya
Exactly.
Toure. You know, we might have paid him a little bit of extra money, you know what I mean, through the UAE club, but we still signed him. Built to 9 men as well, says getting a new manager and new players at the same time is too risky. We need Pep to stay in 1 year, rebuild the squad, then leave the club in a stable position like Klopp did with Liverpool. Yeah, listen, for me, I want him to sign a 1-year contract. I don't want none of this. Like 1 year might stay, you know, I'll be, it's 1 year I'm going, or just signing a new 2 or 3 year contract, or just get off. But yeah, it is interesting. How are you guys feeling then about obviously our fixture run? Pulpy, let me come to you first. What are you feeling about our fixtures, man? Because trust me, man, after this international break,
right now, there's no easy fixture, is there, when you're coming off 4 in a row, especially with a really shitty squad. I don't know, mate. We always seem to come as a club in the last 10 years. We've always come through it anyway. We've had these things where we've had like a Champions League away in a quarter-final or something between 2 trips to London and things against our rivals. So I'm not worried, mate. We have to play these teams anyway, you know, and hopefully the international break, we got at least 3 or 4 back match fit, then we should be all right. But well, the way we are, we could be a fully fit squad and we'd still lose all those, or we're down to bare bones and we come out of that with 8 points or something. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't read too much into it. We play every 3 days anyway. Even if we had a full squad, we'd still be looking at this and going, oh well, there's some tough games there. You know, Palace are our bogey team and Forest are flying, and the mythical Anfield atmosphere is going to put the City players off. It's like, nah, it don't matter. Let's just play. You know what I mean? Yeah.
For me, I'm looking at these 2 fixtures against Tottenham and Liverpool, thinking for me,
but what a way to say, you know what? We've had a bit of a slump. Bollocks. There you go. I'm having it.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's part of me, that's like, maybe we need to play these fucking sick teams, yeah, because we keep playing like Brighton, Bournemouth, Lisbon, who are good teams, yeah, but like they're not like elite level sides. And obviously we're losing. Maybe we need to play a fucking like big dog team, and it's like, yo, if you don't perform today or you switch off, we're gonna get cut.
Time to step up, lads. You've been fucking about for a couple of weeks, and we've been letting shitty goals in. This is it now. You want it or you don't want it, and this is going to basically define your season. If you can't get anything out of these, then that's it. We're done. But if you do, then we're back in it, and we're likely to be back at the top of the league. Potentially, if we can get through that. And after the drama and crisis we've had for the whole of like the last 6 weeks or whatever, it's been 5 weeks, to be a couple of points off the top of the league, and we've just played those teams around us like that, then
I think
the Ghouls are actually in shambles, aren't they?
I think it's just the reason why I've been losing these games isn't because we've been fucking about and we've been shit. Like I mean we have been shit in some aspects, but we've been shit because nobody's got any fucking fitness left. Like it's the same 13 players playing every game, and all but 3 or 4 of them are off to international break now for the next 2 weeks. Like no one's getting a rest. Like I think we're going to be in a position where after this international break now, we're coming up against Spurs and Liverpool, 2 of the liveliest midfields in the league, with fucking Kovacic and Gundogan in midfield, like with the same back 4 that we've been playing. Well, Stones and Diaz will be back in, but they're not exactly rock solid when they've been playing either. Like I just think we're like Pep needs to come up with a brand new fucking tactic over this, or as you were saying on Friday, LB, we just got to go back to last season, go back to the 4 defenders at the back. Let's just have a Kanji.
I agree.
A Kanji, Stones, Diaz. Let's have Gvardiol bombing up the left when we've got the ball. Let's just go back to that, because that's the only way that I can see.
That's coming. That is coming.
It has to.
Knows it works. That is coming.
I can't see us getting. We're going to get 2 more defeats out of it's going to be fucking 6 in a row by the end of these games if we don't.
That's coming.
If we don't. If we don't get to the point where we're doing that, because otherwise we're just going to play. If we're playing the same system now, where I love him, but where if Rico Lewis is playing right back again, and if we're playing Gvardiol, who both of those players are both going to basically be out of defence in possession, then I think we're going to be in a position where we're just going to get battered by these teams who are mint on the break. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. For me, I think it'd be absolutely ridiculous, if we don't go back to this back 4 of the 4 centre backs, right? Walker yesterday, second half, shambolic for me. I'd sell him in January, personally. I'd get rid of him in January because I just don't think he's going to offer me anything now going forward. I don't think he's good enough. Rico, listen, I think Rico's done okay. Yeah, I think Rico's done okay. But for me, personally, I'd get him out of there. If you want to play him, play him in midfield, but not right back. Also, Martin, you saying this, you said my idea was terrible. Joe, didn't he say my idea was not good?
Yeah, I was watching this. I was watching the stream where you put the exact formation that I've just described there, and Martin asked you to explain how that works tactically. And now it's being, and now he's saying that it was the same. I mean, he might have said it. I don't know, but he didn't. He did say he said that he said full attack, but it was effectively exactly what we've just described. That
pack out the midfield, basically don't have a left winger anymore. Fuck that off. Pack out the midfield. Flat back 4 off the ball. Gvardiol can go forward when we've got the ball, and that's how we should play. I can't be honest with this back 4, man. Every single game, it's a different back 4. Every single game, it's a different back 4, and it's just like. No wonder our defense is shit every game, man. You know what I mean? Like, because you've got to build like a little bit of relationship at the back. All great defenses are defenses that play with each other time after time. And ours is different. Every single game, it's different. We need to get, a back 4, which is solid. Go back to Gvardiol, Diaz, Stones, Akanji. Play Ake when it is an injury. Play Ake right back, me, for all I care. I don't care no more. We've got to go back to that. And then you got to pack out the midfield. You play Kovacic. You play Foden, De Bruyne. Foden comes in off the left, right? So he's like your left attacking mid. You play Kevin De Bruyne is your sort of right attacking mid. You play Kovacic, and then don't know. Did you play Nunes or you play Rico?
I will say, to be fair, that for a lot of the Brighton game, we did look like we were kind of playing that system. Like it was Gvardiol who was staying back rather than being the one who bombed up. But it was Gvardiol, Pusey, and Walker who were the back 3 effectively, with Rico being the one who went into midfield. But obviously, if you replace that personnel with take out Pusey and Gvardiol from the remaining back ones and replace them with Stones and Diaz, and then have Gvardiol be the one who bombs up, then that looks a lot more solid. But the system kind of for the first 30, 35, well, basically until Brighton scored. Well, actually, no, I say that. They were knocking on the door for some time, weren't they? But I think when the players weren't knackered and dead, the system looked like it was working. So we kind of got to hope that after the international break, these players coming back might make it look a bit more solid.
For me, Joe's. What I'm just going to touch on what Joe said earlier about when it is Stones and Diaz that are playing, it still looks a bit shaky. For me, it's kind of the bigger picture is everything goes through midfield. So all of our creative options go through midfield. All of the defensive duties start from midfield. Everything starts from midfield. So, like I've mentioned on a couple of shows now, but I think it was Buffon years ago said, you're only as good of a keeper as the players you've got in front of you. And it's kind of true. If you could be the best keeper in the world, but if you've got 4 shambolic defenders in front of you, you're not gonna keep clean sheets. And that kind of works the same for the midfield. So it doesn't matter for me. It doesn't matter what defenders you have at the back four. Everything starts from that midfield. That's where we're lacking creativity because it's the midfield that play the balls through to the front three, and it's also the midfield which is the line which should be stopping those kind of balls getting as far as the defenders. So I think for me, I agree. There are certain aspects of our defence that need to change, but ultimately, Albie's right. We need to pack that midfield, because it's effectively the midfield that's failing the entire team at the moment.
It is. Our midfield, is, and that was a good comment there by Karl. Says we're good on the ball, keeping the ball. We can keep the ball. We can pass around. Gundogan, Kovacic, Bernardo. They can keep the ball, right? There are 2 major issues with our midfield. One is that none of them are creative. Yeah. Shout out Kovacic. Great ball through to Haaland, by the way. Yeah. But he is not a creative player, right? So when he is your most creative player on the pitch, that's a bit of an issue, right? And obviously they're all just slow. So then as soon as we lose the ball, we're just cooked. So for me, I think the way I'd say up the midfield would be I'd play Kovacic, and I think I'd have to play Nunes or Rico. I don't know who you pick. It has to be. Yeah, whatever. If you want to play Rico, I'm not that fussed, to be honest with you. But you've got to play someone in there with a bit of pace, with a bit of energy. Yeah, probably would play Rico, to be honest with you, over Nunes, which says a lot about that transfer of Nunes. And then you play Kevin De Bruyne in front, and then obviously Foden would have to come in off the left-hand side, just like he did a lot last year. And I think that's how we've got to go back to it. Yeah, and then when we lose the ball, you've got Kovacic and Rico Lewis in the middle. Yeah, who Kovacic is slow, but he's not the slowest guy though. He's not slower than Gundogan. You know what I mean? He's got a little bit of speed, but he's still pretty slow. And then you got Rico was sort of trying to close them down. And then you've got your back 3 then of Kanji, Diaz, and Stones, with obviously Gavardio hopefully sprinting back and getting back in position. That's the only way to go for me. I don't really see how else you can set up.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I don't know why we haven't seen it already. To be honest, it's a bit. Well, actually, no, I do. It's obviously because of injuries. But I think even with, we've had games where Pusey's been available, Ake and Akanji have both been available. Did Diaz start in? No, he didn't start in Lisbon, did he? That was there wasn't. But yeah, we've had enough. We have had games this season where enough defenders have been available for us to do that. And it's just not been touched, and I don't really know why. But hopefully, after the international break, we've just got to pray that this is a bit of a reset now for players. I know Diaz is not selected for Portugal, so he's not going. Akanji has been selected for Switzerland. Obviously, Stones hasn't been selected. So Diaz and Stones at least are getting the next 2 weeks off.
Yeah, that's good.
So Akanji isn't. Ake's ruled himself out, hasn't he? So even if we can play those 3. Even if we can play those 3 plus Gvardiol as a back 4 against Spurs, I'm much happier with that than I am with just repeating whatever it is we've been doing for the last month or 6 weeks, because that obviously ain't working. So please give me that. If it's if Akanji's too unfit after Switzerland and needs a rest, cool. Put Ake in there instead. But yeah, either one of them. Yeah,
just play Ake right back, man. I'll be serious.
Ake right back.
Yeah.
Oof.
Bro, this guy's played Cancelo left back. He's played Fabian Delph left back. He's played Zinchenko left back. He's played Rico Lewis left back. Like, let's not go, Ake right back. No, we can't do that. Like, come on, man. This guy's literally a freak. He's played everyone left back. He played Foden left back in pre-season against United a few years ago. Yeah. Let's just play Ake right back if it's for one game. One game. Just play him right back. Akanji's not available, Khalid. That's what he's saying. He said if Akanji's not available, if Akanji's not available for Spurs, just play him right back.
Yeah.
I've had a bit of an idea over the last sort of few weeks, and you can probably call me mad. But for me, I think when Grealish comes back, I think we should be playing him in midfield. Now, I know Pep's not going to do this.
Where would you play him, though?
For me, I would probably play him sort of in that 10 position. The reason is because he slows the pace of the game down. He dictates the play. And for me, I kind of feel like that's partly what we're missing in that midfield. There's too many sloppy errors. Well, obviously, this was before I knew that Kevin De Bruyne was coming back. But I think it's another option that we should probably consider, because I don't know. It's me just throwing ideas around. But
I want in that 10 position for me, mate. It's got to be players that can score or assist. And
I'm with you, but I wasn't sure how long KDB was going to be out, because obviously, like Paul said, he's made a paper mache now. So.
Nah, he's back now, and Pep's got to do what he said he's going to do and manage his minutes. We're talking about managing his minutes, and we exposed him, man, and said he didn't fucking do that. You know what I mean? So he's got to manage his minutes, mate. Yeah, don't play him against Feyenoord. If I see Kevin De Bruyne against Feyenoord, now people will say, "Well, we need to win against Feyenoord." Yeah, I don't care though. Kevin De Bruyne not playing that game, mate. Yeah, I'd rather finish 9th and play 2 extra games than play Kevin De Bruyne against Feyenoord, mate. Yeah, like there's no need. There's just no need for it. There's just no need for me. Just don't play him. You know, if we can't beat Feyenoord without Kevin De Bruyne, then what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Just play Foden. He's a young kid. Don't play him and that. Oh, guess what? There's a guy called James McAtee. He could play.
Nah, he's done him, innit? He's
big time.
Kicking the ball for us.
Big up Nelly. And I want to come to Pulpy on this because I'm pretty sure you spoke about him on Thursday. When Oscar Bob is back, when is Oscar Bob back? He would be very useful now. Well, he's going to be. I reckon he's going to be February time. But you did speak about this. I'm sure you did.
I did say I think maybe might see him around the back training or in the first team squad at Christmas time. You know, that Christmas period between Christmas and New Year. I start around now. That's 7 weeks. Is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. Hope that's me wishfully thinking.
You know what's mad about Oscar Bob? Yeah. GNA wise, he'd be our best winger, 100%. He'd get the most goals and assists in our team as a winger, man. Yeah. And I think we're massively missing him.
I think this season he would have done, but I still think we're putting well too much pressure on him.
No.
Yeah, I think overall a lot of the fan base are like, we need Oscar Bob, like we're being cheated out and not having Prime Messi in our team at the minute. Based off
I do feel tight on Savio.
I do feel a bit like that, yeah.
I do feel tight on Savio because I feel like there's been a lot of opportunities that Savio's had where he's got to the goal line and then he's kind of passed the ball back across sort of the goal, but backwards a little bit. I kind of feel like that's where our midfield should be, and they're just not there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we've got to have the same energy for Savio that we do with Doku, mate, because Doku gets cooked by City fans left, right, and centre for his poor final ball. Yeah, and like Savio, I thought played well yesterday, but his final ball was poor. He should have scored, and like that's Doku getting cooked for that.
I thought when Doku came on against Bournemouth, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think he was our best chance of a goal.
Yeah, he was 100%. But this is the problem: like we have these players who are good on the eye, like Doku and Savio, and take players on and look like creative and that. But we need to improve that final ball, and we need to become more clinical. And that's where I think Oscar Bob for me. And I get what Pulpy's saying. Yeah, we need to chill, like in the sense that we don't want to put too much pressure on him. But I do personally think that if he stayed fit and didn't break his leg, I think he'd have quite a few goals now. It wouldn't surprise me if he'd be on 4 or 5 goals already.
To be fair with Savio, though, like Savio looks like he just needs that first one to go in, doesn't he? Like once that first one goes in, it looks like he's got everything else in terms of like creating. like serious, clear opportunities for him to score. Like they're being created. He's just not taking the chances, and that's like something where, as I say, like once that one goes in, hopefully that leads to a lot. I think him and Doku have both been a bit unfortunate with. They both should have a lot more assists if Haaland didn't miss chances that were given to him from them, or if other players weren't missing. I mean, but as it's been pointed out elsewhere today, like we've got one goal from that sort of like that combination of wingers in our team that this season, like in the Premier League, like it's fucking shocking. Like no matter what way you look at it, that is bad, and it's the reason why we have games where if Haaland doesn't score a hat trick, we don't win. Because like if we're not in a position, we concede every single game pretty much. In fact, yeah, apart from Chelsea in the start of the season, in the league we've conceded every single game. Southampton. Oh yeah, but it's Southampton. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Southampton. I think so. That's 2 games out of what is it? 10 now, 10 or 11 that we've played, where we concede every game. So we need players to score more than one. And if Haaland doesn't score, where are the goals coming from? There is nowhere obvious apart from Guardiola. Like
what we need to do is stop spamming the ball into the box on crosses, because it's Haaland's weakest point of his game. Like it kind of feels to me like if we come towards the end of a game, like 70 minutes onwards, we're kind of just trying to cross the ball into the box. And the problem that you've got is you've only really got Haaland that's got any kind of height advantage, and that's kind of not part of his game. You look at the midfield, like Gundogan, not really that tall. Bernardo Silva, tiny. Rico Lewis, tiny. We're spamming crosses into the box, but effectively,
it's got to be a perfect cross for a perfect assist, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, you're having to rely on Kevin De Bruyne style balls every single time, and it's not when you haven't got the height on your side. And let's face it, whenever the ball is crossed into the box, you've always got 2 of their biggest defenders marking Haaland. Yeah. So, it kind of feels like, oh, we're out of ideas now. Let's just spam crosses into the box and hopefully someone gets on the end of it. There needs to be a bit more to it.
I think the main issue with them, with the wingers you've been talking about there, is we just don't get the best out of them because we're just not direct enough anymore. We're not a direct, straight at you, run through you, and have these players that we've got in ridiculous pace. You look at Grealish, he's down the left-hand side and he's got a right back, a right midfielder, and a centre back to go through. He's not getting through them. So that's why it goes back to the middle and across, and so the gap's open. We've seen Savio against Chelsea when he just got on the ball and just went straight past him every single time. He absolutely rinsed Cucurella into another dimension, didn't he, that game?
Yeah.
And the same with we've seen Nunez go up when they go at players and they're one-on-one and they get past them. That's when the gaps come in and the chances open up. As it happens now, we're just so slow on the ball and the build-up's so slow. We might get a high transition and we're just sort of like, right, we've got the ball. We'll slow it down and let's just move up this slow juggernaut to the edge of the box all the time. We haven't got the players. De Bruyne has not been there to put across him. We've had, with Savio's, he's still unproven what his best sort of attributes are. We know what Doku is. He's got no final product. So it's like we've got nothing to put in the box because we've got no one to do anything with it. So we're just doing this constant suffocating on the edge of the box. And that's where we're not getting the best out of our wingers because you're just so flat-footed. It's like, you can't take anybody on. So they just, I can't do anything with it. They pass it across there and try and make the spaces. And we've got these 2 players out wide that are just constantly sucking the ball from one side to the other. There's no one in the box around them. And those that are there, like Gundogan's, 5'8" or something. Bernardo Silva's 5'6". Now, these guys aren't getting the cross in the box, and we've not got the guys to put a decent cross on Haaland's head anyway. And if it was the most perfect cross, Haaland's head's square. It's going all over the place like a sheriff's badge, innit? It's going to go
everywhere. No, I know. Let me ask you a question on that then. So, how much do you think not having, out and out old school overlapping fullbacks hurts us? Because we don't have anyone really that overlaps the wingers. Like the wingers are 2v1, maybe 3v1 in certain circumstances. So sometimes our wingers just can't do anything, and I feel sorry for them because they stood there on the wing, they look up and they got the midfielder, and then they go, I'll take him on, but then if I take him on, I've got the fullback, and then they're playing a 5 at the back. So if I take the fullback on, then I've got the centre back. I mean? It's just like, and sometimes I feel like this is where
the underlap is what we need. The underlap is what we need. We have Guardiola who does the underlap, doesn't he? He's like the wingers outside, and Guardiola's literally naturally going into that false 10, that 10 bit there. We don't have anybody on the right side that does that because Rico Lewis, when he does it, he's usually in the midfield, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have any natural width, but we have those guys that go inside rather than outside.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have him doing that in this formation than actually having Guardiola overlapping Doku and getting the ball in the corner flag. It's like, no, I don't need that. I'd rather have him in there where he's a threat.
I was watching Chelsea v Arsenal before, And mate, Chelsea's team is so fast and dynamic. Like
Direct.
it's just like it's not like they've got. And what really fucks me off is that one of them is fucking Palmer, who we gave to them. Like they've got so many of these young, quick, like attacking, aggressive players who've got energy for days. Like fucking who's the right back? They've got Gusto. Where were we for that? Why weren't we at the table for that one? Like it's just, you know what I mean? These players who. Like, I know it's obviously very easy to say that when he's come good after having a bit of a shocking start at Chelsea in it, but like, you know what I mean? Like these are the next, and obviously Chelsea are fucking throwing billions at the next every single 21-year-old in world football, so obviously they're going to get some of these right. But like, they've got a team that is young, that is quick, that can go from one penalty area to the other.
That's so direct.
In two passes, and it's quick, and it's not ugly to look at like the way it is with Arsenal, where they're just hoofing it long. Like they're actually playing like real, like nice through balls just breaking midfield.
Works, yeah.
It's unreal, and we're nowhere near that level, because, and it's not even because of personnel, because I think we have the personnel to, like Savio, for example. Savio and Doku are players who, pace-wise, are capable of doing that. But as you say, Pulpy, they've got no end product. Like currently, they've got no end product. Like Doku's never had end product really. Savio's looking like he just needs that first one to happen before it really starts to come to him. And Haaland's obviously going to sprint as fast as he possibly can. But as LB says, we're coming up against 10 men behind the ball at the moment. So even if we had it, I don't even really know how much actual, how useful that would actually be. But yeah, in the comments, like our midfield is nowhere near being capable of doing that, no matter what. So it's a bit of a shame, really.
Of those players that Chelsea signed, I can't believe we was never really that serious on Neto, because he would be brilliant for us.
Kind of comes back down to what I was saying earlier. About when you were mentioning about sort of the overlapping fullbacks and things. It kind of, for me, it all falls down to what the club are looking for and what the manager can kind of use, because, for example, now, like if you look at Pep wouldn't utilize I can't even think of a player who's that Bayer Leverkusen used to play for us? Frimpong. So, a different manager might see the vision of playing overlapping fullbacks using, like a Frimpong or something. But if we keep Pep for the rebuild, he might look for, say, like a different type of player. And I suppose it's kind of setting this vision of where we want to go moving forward. And to only really do that, you're going to have to, bring somebody in who's going to be there for
Yeah, but the thing is with that, Bevel, that's only because the players we had. If you think back to the 10, 15 years ago, he had Jordi Alba, he had Abidal, he used to go forward, he used to play left back. He had Dani Alves. So we can buy fullbacks who go forward, because the greatest team I've ever seen had fullbacks that went forward under Pep Guardiola at Barcelona. It's only because what happens with Pep. Yeah, this is one of the issues that you have with Pep Guardiola is he's such a good manager that you can just give him whatever. Yeah, this is why he doesn't really get the credit. You can give him whatever squad of play. He'll just find something that works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And because we don't have those type of fullbacks, people just assume that we can't do that. If the club went out and spent 100 million and got 2 attacking fullbacks left and right, he would then go, you know what, I'm going to do that. And we've seen a little bit when the Mendy was here on the left hand side. We've seen a little bit with him.
We had Walker and Mendy on both.
We had Walker and Mendy. We tried it then, but.
Yeah,
this is the problem though. You've got Pep that can find a way with whoever we bring in, but the problem is the next manager that comes in, are they going to be able to utilize those players correctly?
I think if you're buying world class players, there shouldn't be an issue for a manager that we're looking at seriously to make them.
Yeah, I get it.
And this is where on the recruitment. This is where on the recruitment side of things, like we can't. If Pep signed a 1-year deal, I'm not signing Pep system players. Like we've got to sign players who are just Obviously, let's be honest, if Pep wants them, they're probably going to be really good. But we're not signing like an inverted fullback that nobody else, like the next manager,
like
could just come in and go, I don't want to do that. I don't want those kind of players. Want players who are just like, right, Pep, you might have to suffer with like a Frimpong for 1 year. But you might have to use an overlapping right back instead of an overlapping left back for a year, and you just have to live with that. But ultimately, the next manager will be happier with that than whatever, like Rico Lewis or whatever. Who knows? But I think there's players. If Pep might not want that kind of player necessarily for his final season. Let's say we just go to the hypothetical that he signed the 1 year extension, and I just don't want our transfer window therefore to be to just be dictated by Pep's vision when he's only able.
No, I get it, and don't I don't necessarily agree with what I'm saying. I'm just kind of playing the devil's advocate to be like, okay, well, what if? Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing is that style, the style that we have now, which is like quick transitions and that to get to the box and just suffocate teams. That ain't going nowhere anytime soon. And the reason that's not going anywhere is because other teams in the Premier League now are starting to do the same stuff. So it's not like we're just the outlier. We're the one team that plays this way. All teams are doing it. So this is going to be 10 years. We're in the era now of post Pep, which is pretty much what's happening. Of teams will set up with this press on the edge of the box all the time. And you'll get the really good counter-attacking teams that are successful against it every now and again, like they happen against us. But the majority of teams now are playing out from the back. These little triangles get to the edge of the box, and that's where it's going. And it's going to be like this for 10 years. I'm telling you, it's not like another team's going to come through and start doing like the old Man United, 2 wingers are going down, putting crosses.
No.
That generation is on now.
The thing is, as well, I mentioned this on an LB show when we were talking about who we think the next manager could be. And I kind of made the point then, and LB agreed with me, was that we need to bring in a manager that plays that style of play similar to Pep and who knows that system well. Because this isn't just a case of our starting 11 play this way. It's right the way through the entire culture of the club, right the way from academy level up to EDS, right the way through to the first team. So when we bring in players, like a Simpson Pusey and a Rico Lewis, they already know this style of play where they can come in and kind of hit the ground running. That's why Rico Lewis and Simpson Pusey have come in and done reasonably well, because it's a system that they're used to.
I mean, doing 10 years, yeah.
So spot on with that comment. We do need to find a manager that understands this style of play. And, nobody's going to come in and be a direct replacement to Pep. But, I think LB worded it in a way where it was like, just change a few bricks rather than knocking the entire wardrobe down.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It's a bit like ready steady cook, where here's your ingredients. This is what you've got to deal with. You make something like that, and 3 people might make something completely different. But as long as the core's the same and it's sort of tasty, that's kind of where it's going. This is what you're dealing with. This, if you want the job, we would expect this, and this, and these are the plays you've got to do with it. And we've had 10 years of success doing this, so you follow this or you're off, mate. Yeah.
There's enough managers in the world who'll do it. We're not going to struggle, are we, to find a manager who obviously it's whether they're good enough to genuinely compete at the top of the Premier League might be the unknown. But I think we're going to find enough managers in the world who can emulate a system similar to Pep.
That's the way the world's going now, isn't it? These managers are coming through and they're seeing
so many
how Pep's success is. They're everywhere.
Nagelsmann,
everywhere.
I think Nagelsmann, at 25-1 is a brilliant shout.
Yeah.
I can't believe how the odds on that guy. I can't believe it because if he goes this summer, you could potentially get him. He has had a tournament already with Germany, but would he want the World Cup next year? Maybe.
Yeah, I think if it's next summer, I very much doubt it'll be Nagelsmann. But I think if Pep signs a 1 year extension, then Nagelsmann World Cup would be.
Maybe that's why.
and then does it? But I seen it at 25-1. I was like, wow, that is pretty wild. Other than that, you got VK. I don't think it's going to be Inzaghi because we're talking about styles, and I just think Inzaghi is too different. It's too different, man.
Italian league, no chance. Absolutely.
People talk about that Mitchell guy, but don't see it being him. I know he's had a good year at Girona, but one good season.
When the time comes, somebody will stand out, and you'll be like, that guy fits us perfectly. And they'll just slightly, you know what, they'll have buttered him up, and it'll start to leak out of this guy, and it'll just be like, this guy just fits. He's the right fit. We're not going to get somebody in who's not up for it. This is arguably the most important and appointment in world football since Alex Ferguson's retired. Right? There's not been a more important one. So, Barry, a bit like Liverpool with Klopp, they've got it right straight away. They've got the right person in, and they've gone.
How did they get to that though? Because I didn't even know who that guy was.
Because he had the foundations there, which we have. So
yeah, but how did they come to the conclusion that Slot was the guy?
because they will just honestly, they would have spoke to him, realised
I
what
even
he's
know-
about, and just say what he wanted. And he said, "Look, I don't really need that much. I will work with what I've got." You know, and in a year's time, when I've proved that I can do this, we'll add a bit more.
I don't think we'll find out how good Slot is until next year, really. Like I think this year he's just got Klopp's team and he's just sort of saying
Everything's
like,
gone right for him. Yeah, everything. He couldn't have gone any better, right?
I think once he's had a couple of transfer windows and the team becomes his and his
starts
style
bringing
of
in
play
some
becomes
Dutch
the
players,
bigger
yeah,
thing.
and
Then we'll see.
Well,
Then we'll see how it turns out.
Don't want to kind of be the one to say it, but I think Arteta's the kind of example of that, isn't it? You know,
Nope.
he won a trophy under Emery's team, so
yeah, he got given a trophy pretty much,
and did nothing since. So
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Smash these likes up, guys, if you've not done so already. We're gonna wrap it up in a minute anyway. But yeah, it's been a rough week or so, hasn't it? You know what I mean? 4 losses on the row. Apparently, it's the first time since 2006. Stuart Pearce was the manager the last time that happened, apparently, which is I can't find that kind
fresh
of
in my
mad.
memory, mate. Fresh in my memory.
Yeah,
with his little cuddly toy on the sideline, you know.
Fresh in my memory.
I just can't believe that's like 4 in a row, right? It's not that bad. Like, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's not
actually not crazy.
It's not like, oh my god, they've lost 4 in a row. Like, yeah, it's not great. You know
We've
what I
not
mean?
been waxed either. We've not been waxed in any of the games. They've been literally.
Exactly.
Apart from the Sporting game where we had a mad 5 minutes and we could have still
2
been
penalties as well.
Yeah, so we've not been absolutely smoked and just
It's
been
just
drubbed.
wild.
You know what I mean?
It's like, I'm surprised that we've not lost 4 in a row, like under Mancini or like under Peller's in his final
Pellegrini's
year.
final season felt like it had plenty of them.
I won't put it past being 5 in a row, lads. So you know what I mean.
Oh, it's going to be mate,
Yeah.
it will be
5 or 6 in a row. Yeah, still win the league. You know, imagine that. The meltdown would be biblical, wouldn't it?
That Spurs game, mate. If we lose that game and then we've got to go to Anfield.
Nah, we're done. We're done if that happens. That's game over.
There'd be 11 points clear if we lost at Anfield. 11.
And that's
if we win 19 games in a row though, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be 19. Well, sorry, it'll be 11 clear if we also lose at Spurs and they win as well.
Yeah. If we lose at Spurs and then lose at Anfield and they beat Southampton, yeah, we'll be 11 behind them.
Oh, bro.
And then we play Forest, who are like flying at the moment. We play Palace.
Let's be honest. If this is the year that we don't win it, I'm so glad it's not Arsenal. Like, I could not be doing with that. Like, Liverpool have kind of like become like, look, they've done it once already. Like, doing it a second time ain't going to be the biggest thing. I've kind of become a bit numb to like the noise around Liverpool at the moment, anyway. But Arsenal, man, fuck me. I hope those knobheads never ever ever win another fucking trophy. Like, they've become so obnoxious since they've got Arteta. Yeah, them.
It would throw their whole phase thing into the bin as well.
Oh, the phase, mate, they're on phase 19. How have they not won a trophy yet? Like, what's going on? Like,
if he comes in and wins the Prem in his first year, that's
yeah, and I couldn't do it. Yeah,
that's kind of mad, you know.
I'm not spending any money either, and Arteta spent like 600 million or something. Yeah, they're done, aren't they?
Yeah,
I'm there for it. Absolutely there for it.
Oh, it's mad. All right, and boys, big up for coming on and having a therapy session. It was good. We needed that. Smash up the likes, guys. If you've not done so already, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Anything to plug, boys? Other than our defense,
I might be liquidating a Karl Walker defense league, by the way.
Oh, yes. I didn't want to.
One of us.
No, it didn't come up naturally, didn't it? It didn't come up, so
I didn't want to.
I don't know, mate. It's getting hard, isn't it? It's getting hard. I'm opening the door here on my own badly.
For their, I don't know if it was it their first goal? I think it might have been. Yeah, where that ball came across to the guy who put the cross in, and he just watched that. He just watched that cross all day long. Like he's not even. He's got to the point where he's not even like closing men down anymore that are ready to put dangerous balls into the box. It
reminded me of the Newcastle game last year. You know, when he just let Gordon just have their space and just shoot every time. It's kind of just like, in fact, no pulpit. Karl is a little bit of a member, bro. Karl's a member of the Walker Defense League.
You know how Gary Neville always tells the story about how he got rinsed at West Brom and he knew his career was over. Like, as Walker had like 7 of them now. Like, he's had like so many times where he should know that he's done. And he's still going.
It was never that bad. Karl Walker's not that bad yet, but it's coming, isn't it?
I just keep getting that Jamie Carragher quote coming back in my head. You know, leave the football before the football leaves you.
Yeah.
Right, just in defence of him, he's obviously not match fit. Didn't Pep say he's done like 2 training sessions since he got injured in the summer or something?
All season, he's done 12 training sessions all season since day one.
Give me one more week after the international break and see how he is, and then we'll see how.
Is he going to England actually?
Yeah, but he needs.
He's in. Probably.
I think he actually needs to play.
Yeah, that's fine. Getting some matches.
So let's see how he is, and then let's see how he plays against Tottenham and Liverpool, and then I might well resign from the committee.
Yeah, it's the same with Grealish. Like, I'm a bit frustrated, and like, I personally don't believe the PR that's out there that it's just a coincidence that he's back training.
No chance.
Personally, I don't believe that. You believe it. You do what you want to do. Yeah, but I actually think like it's probably good that Grealish is playing for England because then like he can get fit, and hopefully when he comes back, like Pep won't have any reason then not to put him in the squad. So you know, so some of these players you don't want them to play for the national teams, and some of them you're like actually I don't mind them playing. Obviously, you don't want them to get injured, but some of them. Yeah, I'd rather them get some minutes so then when they play against Spurs, they're not coming into it cold, like totally dead. Like they've actually got some match sharpness. So
one question. Is Ake going away with Netherlands?
No, he ruled
Thank
himself.
God for that. So Ake's going to be all right then.
Yeah. Oh, Ake's fine. Like
De Bruyne's not
you were saying about hopefully we'll see how Walker gets on against Spurs and Liverpool. I really hope we don't. I hope he's not anywhere near the pitch. We need to see that back four. I want the four.
If he's fit, he starts. I know people hate to hear that, but if he is fit, he's the club captain and he starts. He's a captain, and I think Pep puts something behind that. If he's fit, he starts.
That's a massive mistake for me if he does. I think.
No, but if he's match fit and he's on it, he's nowhere near as poor as he has been in the last 3 games or 2 games or whatever. But then again, he's like probably on. If you play Football Manager, he's probably on about 36% fitness right now. So he's like blowing out of his arse, isn't he? So I don't know. He stepped up, he's had a stinker, and he's like, he's got to own it, hasn't he? We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, big up, boys. Anything you wanted to plug, lads?
City Ramble podcast. I'm on that. If you enjoy any of this, which is very unlikely that you like me talking, then there I am.
Sorry, I've not used a meme today.
I know, yeah.
No, check it out. He asked me to go on today, actually, but obviously we're doing this stream, so I need to message him and get me on the City Ramble. So yeah, make sure you follow that, guys. City Ramble podcast. Pulpy, anything?
Just that Pulpy on Twitter. Just tend to just shout stuff into the void and try and defend Kyle Walker. That's what I do.
Yeah, and if there is any Kyle Walker defenders out there, guys, in the chat, listen, there might be one. Make sure you follow Pulpy, who is the leader of the Walker defense league.
Got one
just
follower.
Kyle Walker and defending just doesn't go into the same thing at the moment.
Yes, all right, Bevel. All right, calm down. Bevel, anything for you, man? You got your Twitter account, innit?
Yeah. Taking a back step from the YouTube channel. Just going on shows when I get asked. Kind of enjoying it. Not as much pressure. I still am around on Twitter. I do a show on a Thursday on Not in My Lifetime podcast. And then come on LBs and chat shit now and again. So
special guest appearances, mate. It's the way to go.
Biblical.
You can just sponge.
Roy said, he says you don't need to be fit to turn your head.
So true.
Oh my god. All right, guys, make sure you smash a like on the stream. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Martin's live now, so go check it out on Mancunian Way. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Be back tomorrow and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.